Let me first leave and join again.
Yes, please do it. Um, we want to see our speakers online.
All right.
That's great. Uh, just there are people here, so that you say we have
Hi,
people here.
people.
Okay. Um, Hi everyone. Just put it down. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Welcome to our online community, and also the beautiful ladies and gentlemen that are joining us today. I'm going to bother you for a few minutes and ask that you please move a bit closer, so that we fill all the chairs that are still vacant here at the front. Thank you very much to everyone that has joined. I know it's very early on a Saturday. Some of you would have preferred that they are resting, but we're here to celebrate International Women's Day, and that's really exciting. And we would really like to thank even the speakers that have dedicated their time to come and present and share some knowledge nuggets with us. There are 3 chairs that are still open. Please join. Yes, so without wasting any time, we have a very long program for today. I'd like us to welcome someone that's going to do an opening prayer for us, so that we start with the main thing, ensuring that we start this event accordingly. So I will ask that Netaban come join us for an opening prayer, and then we can continue. Galvon.
Morning, everyone. We can stand up and close our eyes. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Christ, for this beautiful morning. We knew this day would be there. Ke tlo Modimo ka leboha fa nolofatsa event ena re santsane re qala Jehova ya halelang. Ga leboha ka lebitso le matla, lebitso le legolo la Morena wa rona Jesu Kriste. Tsamaya le rona Modimo, qala le rona o yo felella. Ga leboha in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much for that opening prayer, Miss. So now that we've started, I can introduce myself. I'm sure you're wondering. My name is Katle Homashian Impana. I am a member of the Global Shapers, and which Tabang is also a part of, and she just hijacked me to say, can you come help us and do some NC and facilitation for today. But above all, I'm an advocate for women. I believe that women are capable, very much capable of achieving greater things. And therefore, I think this aligns with some of the things that I believe in, and specifically just ensuring that we're celebrating International Women's Day. I think it's important as we start to also acknowledge that as we celebrate International Women's Day, you know that the theme for this year is Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress, right? And we know as we are here and we have the amazing women that are going to be presenting, we've also had women that have done amazing things that we know about, especially in tech. These are ladies such as Hedy Lama, who invented Wi-Fi. Did you know this? Amazing, right? We also have Catherine Johnson, who's a NASA mathematician. People that watch Hidden Figures, that's that amazing lady that Taraji, Taraji plays. Yes, we have Annie Elsie, who was a NASA rocket scientist. We have Grace Hopper, who was the lead computer scientist. Uh, Ada Lovelace, who was the world's first computer scientist. That's amazing. And then we have Mary Wikes, who was the first home computer user. And you can imagine in those days when women were, yeah, I mean, it was impossible for you to do that. And she had the bravery to say, I'm going to buy a computer and use it at home. So we really are appreciative and thankful of such women that have mapped the path for us. And as we are here, we also are reminded that it is indeed possible. If they did it then, I mean, what's stopping us now when we have all the access? So, Ganeti, we thank them, and most importantly, we're really appreciative that we have our speakers today that are going to be reminding us of this. So you'll remember that the theme is impacting the future. So we are excited that they will be talking to this and ensuring that we are fully empowered and understanding how we can impact the future. So to start off, I'm going to ask that the Women Tech Makers Ambassador gives us the welcome remarks and sets the tone for us today. Please welcome.
Hi everyone. My name is Tabang Pinyani. I'm a Women Techmakers Ambassador and also a TensorFlow User Group Lesotho lead organizer. So today we are here to celebrate women who are making it in technology and also saying to other women who are upcoming so that they know that it's possible to do it in IT. So every year, Google hosts International Women's Day worldwide. So it normally starts on the 8th of March. So this is our celebration to all the women who are making it, who have made it before, and they are going to share their stories with us to inspire and motivate us to be some people. Yeah, yeah, yes. So we're having amazing speakers. They are going to join us online, and then we have other two speakers who will be joining us physically. We have Masiho. She's a chemical engineer. Yes, and then we have Lavi Jane. She's also a senior software engineer. So the people who are trying to do software engineering, she's going to tell you what or about. Yeah. So welcome to, and then we also have Somaya, who's a tech content creator. So they're going to.
She's frozen for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not just me.
Hello, I can't hear anything.
Yeah, us too. She froze and then she disappeared.
We're sorry. Just that the computer had a problem, so we're sorry. We are back. We are back.
My name is Zoe Madonna. Graduated in computing computing currently working in right now. I have completed my master's my master's in prior to studying cybersecurity, so I'm currently looking for a pre-graduate cybersecurity.
So for online people, we are trying to know the people in the room. So that's what happen. What is happening?
Okay. So since we were rudely interrupted by the computer shutting down, so we just decided to do some introductions in house here. But welcome back to to you. We were still continuing this side while we were disconnected. So without wasting any further time, we would like to welcome Masejo Supie, who is going to be talking about empowering women in engineering. So she's a chemical engineer, and so I'm going to quickly read her bio. She has a dynamic blend of technical expertise and leadership acumen. She stands as a seasoned chemical engineer with over 8 years of hands on experience in corrosion management and the maritime industry. Her career journey reflects a commitment to problem solving, project management, and effective communication, coupled with a passion for continuous learning and growth. So, Bomme Lewontate, let us please welcome Mema Sejo, and let us just give her a round of applause as she joins us. Thank you very much, Mia. I see you're very excited and all bubbly. So please take us through your presentation. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible and visible. Tabang, I'm looking at the ceiling. I would like to see the people that I'm presenting to.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, the
Thank
people.
you. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Dumelang. Ko Lesotho. I would have loved to be there today, but unfortunately, things didn't go my way. I hope everyone is okay today. I'm not sure how many of you are there, but there is an exercise that I would like us to do before I start with my presentation. You don't have to move, you don't have to go anywhere. You just, as you are sitting down, lift your right foot in the air, rotate your right foot clockwise. As you are rotating your right foot clockwise, take your right index finger and draw a 6 in the air. And please tell me what happens.
In the air.
I'll start again for those who were not listening or those who were not paying attention. Yeah? Well, as you are sitting down with your right foot lifted in the air, start making circles in a clockwise direction. While you are doing that, with your right index finger, draw a 6 in the air and tell me what happens. I know it's mind blowing. Every time you do it and you try not to have the foot change direction, it's hard. It will always change direction. The reason I do this exercise is for us to realize that there are things in life that are sometimes out of our control, and we can either laugh about them or we can let them bring us down. We must never choose the second option. So that's what I want to leave you with today. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you. I'm kidding, guys. Come on, listen up. Okay. Host, Women in Tech Makers Ambassador, Ms. Binyani, fellow speakers, all protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Masako Musupie. I am a chemical engineer and I am very appreciative of the bio that was read of me. It's always nice to hear people talk about you like that. It's like, oh, that's me. My presentation today, Tabang. I can't see the presentation, so okay. I will look at the presentation and I will tell you when to change the slides, ne? I'm
Okay.
assuming you're on the introduction slide.
Oh. A-R-E-T.
So the second
Okay.
slide is my introduction.
You haven't shared your screen.
Oh, am I supposed to share? I thought you were going to share it. Okay, let me
Okay.
share quickly. I'm gonna share now, ne?
Okay.
All right. Tell me when you see it.
Yes, we can see and we're able to see you.
Do you see the presentation or my whole screen?
We see the presentation now,
Okay,
only the presentation, yes.
okay, wonderful. So, as an introduction, ladies and gentlemen, we celebrated or are celebrating International Women's Day this year in March. It started on the 8th, as Tabam mentioned. And if your workplace has not celebrated this day, I implore you to please go back to them and ask them why and encourage them to celebrate it because this is a day that all women should be recognized, not only as technical women, but internationally women as a whole. I'm going to share a bit about my professional background, some career highlights, and I'll give some tips for guiding aspiring chemical engineers. Then I will give some recognition to notable women in chemical engineering. Then I'll go through some global challenges which require engineers so that if anyone here is still considering a career in engineering, you are convinced that there will be work because some people nowadays are saying, do I really want to be an engineer? Will there be work for me? Is there a demand for engineers? I'm here to tell you that there is. And on top of that, there is a demand for female engineers. I'll give an opportunity for questions and answers at the end of my presentation. But if at any time during the presentation you feel the need to ask me a question, please stop me and do so. I cannot see the people, Tabang, so you'll have to let me know if there's a hand up, ne?
Okay, I'll make sure that you see them.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, let me do this. I have a suggestion. Can you please share your screen and share the presentation so that I can be able to see you guys as well as the presentation? I'm gonna stop sharing now. No?
Okay.
Sure. It feels weird to just talk to a screen and not see you. Sorry, guys. Okay, I've stopped sharing. Here we go.
Okay.
Much better.
So I'll have to show you people and then press next.
Yes, we are women. We multitask. Don't ever forget
Okay.
that.
Do you see them?
I see you guys. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Let
So
me.
I was on my professional background. Ne? The next slide.
The next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is it? Yes, that one. Thank
Okay.
you. So, yes, in terms of the positions that I've held, I'm an ex naval engineering officer. I joined the Navy in January 2014. I did my basic training and then I went on further to do my basic military training for officers, which you need to become a naval engineering officer. It was 9 months of running around and being told that I am nothing and I will be nothing, but it built my leadership skills. And I think it prepared me for my career in chemical engineering, which I further went into in the South African Navy. I was doing corrosion investigations, I was doing corrosion maintenance, I was teaching about corrosion because some people actually work with these ships and they don't know what causes them to corrode. So I was doing that. I was doing paint specifications for the ships. I was designing cathodic protection mechanisms to protect the ships from rusting. And I was also uh, an ambassador, if I could say so, for corrosion in the military as a whole, because I wasn't only dealing with corrosion in the Navy, I was dealing with corrosion in the South African Army, the South African Air Force, and the military health services. So it was a very fulfilling career. And ended up in me being actually recognized as having been the first and only female chemical engineer in the South African Navy at the time that I joined. So it was quite an accomplishment, and I honestly love talking about it. Then, 3 years ago, I moved on to be a corrosion engineer at Armscor Dockyard. Armscor is the Armaments Corporation of South Africa. It is the maintenance authority for the South African military equipment, buildings, whatever material that the South African military has is maintained by Armscor. Then, 2 years after I joined, I was promoted to acting section manager for the material section. The material section consists of the corrosion control and prevention subsection, the metallurgy, as well as the paint coordination sections. So I was in charge, or I'm still in charge of those subsections. And it is similar to the work that I was doing in the Navy, but now in the Navy, they didn't have a laboratory. At Armscor, they have a lab, so I can do the tests of the materials myself. And it is always a great experience to be hands on when it comes to the work that you do. In terms of the professional affiliations, I serve on a couple of committees, including the Corrosion Institute of South Africa and the South African Institute for Marine Engineers and Naval Architects, as well as the South African Institute of Chemical Engineers, the South African Institute of Tribology, and as is required of engineers in South Africa, we have to register with the Engineering Council of South Africa, EXA. Currently registered as a candidate engineer, working towards registering as a professional engineer. So once I register as a professional engineer, maybe I'll end up coming to work in Lesotho because then I'll be internationally recognized. Next slide, please. So, yes, as I mentioned, while I was in the Navy, I was given the honor of being recognized as the first and only female chemical engineer there. I did various online activities where I was interviewed on TV because I was the only chemical engineer. They were asking me, what exactly do you do in the Navy? Because chemical engineers had not always been there. And I was like, well, this is what I do. And they were like, oh, we actually did need you. And I was like, yes, I'm glad you recognize that. And I hope that you'll be able to open the path for more chemical engineers to come and join the Navy, which happened because there's currently a lady that is in her final year now at UCT of chemical engineering, and she started studying from the Navy. So at least there's a path that I managed to open, and I'm very happy about that. I participated in various military exercises, which I cannot tell you about because if I tell you, I must kill you. And it was fulfilling because it felt like I was serving my country. It felt like I was contributing to a bigger what do you call it? A larger part of society. I wasn't just an engineer, I was also a soldier. And as much as I was not going to war, the work that I was doing for the Navy was allowing the ships to continue protecting sovereignty of our country. I was also offered various opportunities to empower women. So while I was in the Navy, I was given opportunities to present to various universities as a engineer and as a naval officer to try and motivate young women to join the military, and not only the military, but on as with a career in the technical environment. So my career highlight include being in the Navy. And then, next slide, please. It went on further with me becoming a South African Women in Engineering ambassador. I started this journey last year, 2022. South African Women in Engineering, I hope everyone knows what it does, but I'll just give a brief overview. They are a nonprofit organization which advocates for women in engineering. So I go around giving presentations to young girls to motivate them to join a career in STEM, not only in engineering, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. So I've went as far as compiling a team of professionals, which are women who are in careers in STEM. And when I do these presentations to the kids, I usually join up with the ladies. There's a picture of some of them in the next slide. Ta-da.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Don't worry. I'm just thinking about my time here. I don't have too much time. I must use my time wisely. So you must work with me.
Okay.
So I compiled, or not compiled, I managed to get together a group of about 20 ladies who are in different careers in STEM, including the Women in Tech ambassador, our very own Miss Tabang Pinyani, which you can see in the middle row, last person there. And she has also been part of these presentations where we go to the schools or sea cadet bases and we present to the kids and tell them what we do, our experiences in our fields, the highlights of our careers, and why they should actually do a career in STEM. And it's been a wonderful experience. As you saw in the previous slide, there's pictures of me and other ladies with the kids, and we give them those pink hard hats to serve as a reminder. So if, say for instance, a child is in her room and she sees this pink hard hat and she's about to do maths homework, and she's like, I don't really feel like doing it. And then she's like, oh no, I actually want to be an engineer. Because of that hard hat, then she goes and does her homework. So that's the kind of logic that we're using when we give them these souvenirs to try and encourage them that being an engineer is something that you can actually do. It's not only a male thing because the engineering industry used to be male dominated, actually, the STEM industry, but it no longer is because now women are doing wonderful things in the STEM industry, and it is up to us to encourage them and show them that women are doing these things. And that group of women that you see on the screen have been very helpful in helping me achieve that goal. Are there any questions so far, or am I okay? Am I explaining everything properly? Is everyone still with me? Did everyone have coffee? Okay. Means I'm doing a very good job. I'm very happy. Thank you so much. Next slide, please. So, in terms of guiding aspiring chemical engineers, before I start, I have another brain activity. I love these things. This lady is spinning. Depending on which side of your brain is strong, you will see her spinning either in a clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. By show of hands, who sees the lady spinning clockwise? Am I seeing a hand there?
No hands.
Is she spinning, Taba? She
Yes.
should be.
Yes.
So
Yes,
no
she's
one sees her
spinning.
Yes,
spinning
it's
clockwise.
spinning.
I'm scared.
Anti-clockwise.
Wait, I know what's happening. I'm gonna tell you now. Okay, who sees her spinning anti-clockwise? Okay, there are a
It's
few hands. Who
anti-clockwise.
A
sees
lot of
her?
hands.
Wait, who
Uh,
saw her spin
Anti-clockwise.
clockwise first and then anti? There are some hands. Yeah. So it's a right brain, left brain exercise, right? If you see her spinning in a clockwise direction, you are apparently right brained, so you are more creative. If you see her spinning anti-clockwise, you are left brained and you are more logical. So if you see her spinning in two
Yes,
directions, if you
yes.
see
I'm
her
more
spinning in
logical.
two directions, I'm worried about you. Which side? I'm kidding, guys. This is homework. You must go and find out why this lady spins the way she spins. There was like a whole research that was done about it, and it was very interesting. And I like seeing the reaction from people when they see that. Sometimes when you look at her, she spins this way. Some kids that I showed it to said, when I blink, she spins left. When I blink twice, I'm like, I making up things now. But anyways, moving on. In terms of guidance for someone who wants to pursue a career in chemical engineering, you need to embrace your passion. I think we all know that if you go to work every day and you go do something that you really are not passionate about, it's going to drain you. You're going to come back disinterested. You're going to be tired. You're not going to have anything to be proud of because you're doing something that you are not passionate about. So, embracing your passion is the first thing. An educational foundation. A lot of people will think that they want to be engineers. They excel in maths and science at school, but then when they get to varsity, it's like, no, this isn't really what I wanted to do. And you find a lot of people that are stuck in careers because they were always told, no, you must always be focused on maths and science for you to be an engineer. You can be many other things if you've done maths and science. But now, if you don't have the first thing, passion about it, but you have the educational foundation, it's not going to work. It's a what is it called? It's a combo. They go together. Then you have to go through various research programs. So while you are in varsity, there are various internships and companies actually offer these things that you can do during your VAC work. So if you are already studying, you can go and do it. If you are still in school, you can still go and do it and find out if it's something that you would be passionate about. Because I remember when I was in high school, in grade 11 already, we were taken to vets and they took us on a tour of one of their chemical engineering faculties, and it was nice. But at the time I was like, no, I want to be a doctor. But then after I finished with my matric, I was like, I don't think I can stand the sight of blood. So we change as we go along. And Tabang, please tell me how much time I still have next so that I don't go over time. I don't want to chow all the other presenters time. So if I'm left with 5 minutes, please just indicate maybe with a text in the box here. Ne?
it's 10 minutes right now.
Okay, so I have 10 minutes left.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful, perfect. Yeah. So as I was saying, the program that they took us on, it yes, it contributed to my knowledge of chemical engineering at the time, but it didn't really encourage me at the time to join. So the more that I went on other excursions, the more I realized, okay, this is something that I actually do. Networking. Networking doesn't only happen in events like this, guys. You could be at Pick and Pay and you start talking to someone and you find out, oh, you're actually a professor or a chemical engineer or whatever. If you talk to people, you get to learn about what they do. And if people are passionate about what they're doing, they'll always be willing to tell you about, oh, yes, this is what I studied, this is what I wanted to be, and this is what I've become, and this is what I do on a daily basis. So talk to people. Networking isn't only at networking events. Seek mentorship. Mentorship will never steer you wrong because if you find a mentor that is in the field that you want to do, you will be communicating with someone who is doing something that you are passionate about. And depending on whether they are passionate about it, you sharing knowledge with them will be very beneficial to you, determining whether it's a career that you can be interested in or not. Be confident, believe in your abilities. There are a lot of stereotypes that hinder a lot of girls from studying engineering. So when we are in like grade 9 or 10, the teachers will tell you, no, man, engineering is usually for guys. You want to go wear an overall and work underground and all these things. So all of those stereotypes are preventing young girls from pursuing careers in STEM, and it is really, really irritating because the teachers and the what you can the community is supposed to be encouraging girls to pursue careers in these fields. Next slide, please. In terms of continuing education, it is very important that while you are in a certain field, you stay up to date with advancements in that field by attending things such as this conferences, workshops, and pursuing further education if necessary. So I am currently busy with my master's in project management. I was recently accepted to do a master's in maritime management in the World Maritime University. And it's, hey guys, a career in engineering is fulfilling. That's all I can say. And as long as you are willing to learn, which is what you guys are willing to do because you woke up on a Saturday morning and you came to this thing, anyone who does that is very, very well on their way to continuously educating themselves. So kudos to you for that. A work-life balance, it is very important that when you get home, you let work go. There's barriers that you need to form. There's certain instances, yes, in certain environments where your work-life balance will not balance. But when it comes to engineering, guys, it is very much possible because you not only work alone in the engineering field, there are various other disciplines that you work with that you will always be able to depend on. So make sure that you maintain your relationships. Make sure that your personal interests you keep on doing. I hike every second weekend. I run races. I go on marathons. I take my siblings to the beach. I have a bunny rabbit that I is very destructive, but I like it. So make time for things that make you happy outside of work. Break barriers. Like I mentioned with the stereotypes earlier, you must always be willing to challenge stereotypes. You you as a person can always have something to contribute in a field, and if you let that pass you by, let that opportunity pass you by, then no one else will be able to unleash that potential that you have. Support others, which is what I try to do by these careers in STEM presentations. I try to expose as many women as I can to a career in engineering through social media, through word of mouth, whatever opportunity I get by attending conferences as well. I try to support others and pay it forward. Um, Remember, lastly, that as a female in a male dominated field, you will face challenges. There's a good example that one lady once made to me that when she's working on site, she was a mechanical engineer and they went to a mining site somewhere and she she didn't have a toilet. Something as simple as a toilet, which men don't consider because a man can just hide behind a tree and pee. But a woman, it's different because she's wearing a onesie overall. She needs to take the whole thing off to do her business. And things like that are not thought of in a male dominated environment. So we need more females to join STEM careers so that we can address challenges like that. Yes. The other one was the pregnancy of females in workplaces. There was a lady who was 8 months pregnant at the workplace, and there was no policy that said that she would be allowed to drive her car into the yard because it was a security controlled yard and only management could drive in. But now, as a pregnant lady having to walk from the gate a whole 2 kilometers in the morning and another 2 kilometers in the evening, it's very strenuous. So things like that need to be included in policies, and women must join these careers for these things to be considered. Stay resilient, stay determined, and keep pursuing goals with passion and perseverance. There is no engineer who does not need perseverance in their career because there's so many challenges. They need so many solutions. They need you to be innovative all the time. You need to be thinking. You need to be doing all these steps that I told you about, including continuing education. You need to read. There's no engineer who just sits and doesn't read, and you see problems and you don't come up with solutions to fix them. That is why you are an engineer. Thank you, Taban. Next slide. I'm sure I'm left with 2 minutes now. I will race through this one. So, in terms of recognizing notable women in Cambridge, Alice Hamilton, her research on the effects of lead and other toxic substances on workers in various industries. She advocated for safer working conditions and regulatory reforms. She was the first woman appointed to the faculty of Harvard, where she taught and conducted research, paving the way for future generations of women in academia. We are able to study these institutions because of women like Alice Hamilton. And we are still in need of women like her who will come up with more solutions to modern, occupational health and safety standards. So there's a gap there. And if you are in that room and you think you can fill this gap, please do so soon. Next slide. Frances Arnold, she was a biochemist, or she is, oh, sorry, but she's a biochemist as well as a chemical engineer. She directed the evolution of enzymes, which she was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2018. So her research enabled us to develop new enzymes with tailored properties, and it revolutionized fields such as pharmaceuticals and biotechnology. So we are able to explore because of Frances Arnold. And her contribution to sustainable chemistry has been instrumental in designing environmentally friendly processes for chemical synthesis and manufacturing. If you Google this lady, she's still busy trying to inspire future generations. So she's paying it forward, like I mentioned earlier. And scientists and engineers with their innovative approaches to solving complex biological and environmental challenges. So after she did all of these wonderful things, she didn't just sit down and say, okay, I've done my contribution to society, I am done now. She continues to help others. Next slide. Stephanie Kolek, she was a chemist. She invented Kevlar. So policemen are able to run around with confidence, wearing bulletproof vests because of this woman. I mean, if this isn't a great invention, guys, I don't know what else is. She was recognized for her groundbreaking contributions to material science and engineering. She demonstrated the importance of curiosity-driven research in creating transformative technologies. Next slide. Lastly, we have Chien Xiong Wu. Forgive me if I didn't pronounce it properly. She was a physicist known for her significant contributions to nuclear physics and experimental science. So, like, this woman was in the World War IIs where women were not allowed to do anything, but she managed to carry out experiments and come up with experiments that provided experimental evidence that challenged fundamental concepts in particle physics. So there were women who were still working during tough times. So our tough times should not hinder you from coming up with innovative solutions like this. This is my last slide. I don't know how much time I still have, but I will run through it quickly. It is just to motivate you that there is still a need for engineers in the industry. Next slide, please. These are all global challenges that we have. Global means the whole world. We have climate change mitigation and adaptation. Engineers are essential in developing renewable energy technologies, improving energy efficiency, designing resilient infrastructure, and implementing carbon capture and storage solutions. Need engineers to take care of such. We have water scarcity and quality. If you check most of these challenges, are trying to address the main SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. So if we get more engineers working on these problems, we will be able to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by the set deadline. So we have water scarcity and quality, we have sustainable transportation, which is an issue, we have urbanization and smart cities, which is very slow, especially in developing countries. A lot of countries are already urbanizing and they have smart cities. We don't even have one smart city in our country, I'm sorry to say. I don't know if Lesotho has, but hopefully you guys are working on it that side. Food security, engineering plays a role in developing agricultural technologies such as precision farming, you have hydroponics, you have genetically modified crops. We need more distribution systems that can help in reducing food waste. So we do need a lot of engineers. Public health and healthcare, that one goes without saying. There's a lot of inventions that are trying to help with the public health and healthcare of our people, but it is slow. We need better and more advanced solutions to these problems. We are in the fourth, if not fifth, industrial revolution. We can't still be having doctors doing operations with the risk of killing people because of the human factor. Cybersecurity and data privacy. I think most of the guys here today will know a lot about that. So I will wait to hear from the software engineers and everyone. I won't talk about things I don't know. Disaster resilience. Engineers design infrastructure and systems to withstand natural disasters such as earthquakes, hurricanes, and floods. We are so lucky that in our continent we don't experience a lot of these things, but in countries that do, we'll be very appreciative if an engineer in South Africa or in Lesotho comes up with an idea or an innovation that helps them survive these things. Biodiversity conservation, global connectivity, waste management and pollution control, space exploration and colonization. Hopefully, one day we will have more astronauts in our continent than they have in Russia, which they hide. I did not say that. I know this is being recorded, but thank you so much. I'm done. I'm sorry for going over time. If there are any questions, you can leave them for the break or you'll send them and I'll answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Masiko. We decided because the computer shut down and took a bit of your time, we'll allow for questions if there are. Yes. So, are there any questions from the floor? No questions.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Before you go, Masiko, I have just one question.
Okay.
So I think in your presentation you talked about, of course, ensuring that you break barriers, um, and of course you also talked about if you're looking for a career in engineering, you probably need a lot of perseverance, and I think that's applicable in any other career. So there's talks about the generation Z that's very much breaking the stereotype breaking. They are very they question everything, right? But there's also doubts that sometimes they do not persevere because they know their worth and all that. So I just wanted to hear from you how you think that specific generation can maybe find a nice balance between ensuring perseverance while still breaking the barriers.
Um, yeah, I thought I muted myself. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, yes. I think they have the advantage of having a lot of people who are more experienced and they have a lot of support. I think that's why they feel like no, there's no need for us to persevere because when, for instance, with EXA, the Engineering Council of South Africa, nowadays EXA is making companies develop a continued professional development plan where when I come from varsity, already the company is supposed to have a set path that I'm going to follow. And once I've completed that path, then I'll be ready to register as a professional engineer. Whereas for us, I don't think I'm a Gen Z. We didn't have that. We had to develop our own plans from scratch, and that's why we needed to persevere. So the advice that I can give to them is take as much as you can from all the people around you, because most of them are going to retire and you'll be left there with a knowledge gap. So that's what I tried to do when I got to the company that I work for. I tried to, let's say, milk everyone who was on their way out for all the skills and knowledge that they have, so that I wouldn't have to persevere as much as I had to in the beginning. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much
Thank you.
for that. I hope the ladies and gentlemen sitting here have been took a lot of notes and they will take it through their careers as they pursue different ones. We did have a chat with them earlier on to identify what interests they have, and they're really in the STEM space, most of them. So I think some of the lessons that you have talked about in engineering are applicable, even in user experience, computer science. I think there's also data analytics that's also here in the room. So thank you very much, Masako. Once again, round of applause to her.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll listen to the rest of the presentations.
Okay.
A video on screenshot.
Oh,
Yes. Let me.
Atabang, you're taking too long. The smile is even gone now.
No, just keep on smiling. Done. Thank you.
Is it done?
Yes.
Okay.
Ekare ke mokgweetsi o tseba ke re done jwang.
Is it? Ukwetsiye nako?
O kwetse. Oho.
No, ke nna ke
Ah.
kwetse.
Okay.
Um, okay. So, moving right on to our next speaker, who's going to be talking about the impact of diversity and inclusion. We have Sumaya. Yo, I hope I pronounce this Naluwa. Oh, she will correct me. She's a tech content creator at, sorry, let me just quickly read. She's a tech content creator at Tech Over with Sumaya on YouTube, where she provides valuable insights for tech enthusiasts in navigating the non-coding aspect of technology. Additionally, she serves as a community lead for GDG Cloud and Women Techmakers Balara, and demonstrating a strong passion for fostering inclusive tech communities that empower everyone to succeed. She's passionate about using technology to solve challenges. She's also an advocate for diversity and inclusion in society. Welcome. Can we give her a round of applause? Over to you, Smaya, and welcome to Lesotho via online.
Thank you so much for that introduction. It's really an honor for me to be speaking to you. A good morning to everyone. Like you've introduced, Sumaya Nalukwago. I'm a tech content creator on YouTube. I create content about the non-coding aspects of technology, as well as a community lead. And I'm going to be taking you through the impact of diversity and inclusion, why we should have diverse communities, why we should have diverse workspaces and diverse families. So, should I share my slides or you can share them on your end?
Please share them.
All right. Let me share my screen now.
Again, again. Wait. Ah, akay mali. Try ko sa kadi. Okay.
All right, so I hope I'm audible enough. We're going to be talking about the impact of diversity and inclusion on the future of technology. So, like I mentioned, this is something brief about me. I'm a global tech award nominee. I actually made it out as I appeared in the top 10 out of 200 out of over 2,100 participants last year. And I'm a content creator, I already mentioned that. I'm a community lead. I lead the GDG Cloud community of Bara as well as Women Tech Makers Bara. And I'm a former GDSC lead. I don't know if you have GDSC leads in the house or GDSC community members. And I'm an IT professional. I hold a bachelor's degree in information technology. I'm a trainer with the Innovation Village here in Bara. It's a local hub that I work with. So yeah, let's get into it. How many of us know any influential women in technology? We can go ahead and mention them. The women that we know in technology, the very many influential women we know in tech.
Do you want us to individually respond, get a few responses?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Influential women in technology. Anyone? I mean, we talked about stars. Anyone? Ah, thanks. Smile, did you hear that?
No.
Okay, so there was mention of our very own Maneo Maparisa, who's the founder of World Coding
Wow, that's nice.
Yes.
Academy in country. So that's really nice. I was expecting that they might talk about international. Um, anyone else? Ah, you know that. Okay. There's another one.
Um, Thank you. For now, I can think of is it Cheryl Sandberg, and she was the former COO of Facebook. So she wrote a book about how women can thrive in technology.
I hope you heard that. Smile.
No, I didn't hear that.
Okay, there was mention of Sheryl Sandberg, the former COO of Facebook.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Okay, then there's another one.
Remember Moketi Pagin, she's South Africa she was she was a vice chancellor at University of Cape Town, and she inspired so many women in technology. She was a mathematician. Yeah.
Okay. There's also mention of Prof. Pagay, the former vice chancellor of the University of Cape Town. He's a professor in maths, I think. Yeah.
All right. So I think those are enough. We can do with those for now.
Okay, you can continue, Smile.
All right. I'm glad that at least each one of us took a minute to think about the influential men in tech. This does not leave out the men in attendance, but I just want you to know that by you attending this IWD, it means you're influential, you're making a step towards becoming that outstanding woman in technology. So you are all influential women in technology, and your name should have come up first before all these other amazing ladies and what have done. So now that we know that we are all influential women in technology, um, let's go on with the presentation. So why should we create diverse communities? Why should we advocate for diversity and inclusion? Diversity means having various categories of people, people from different backgrounds, and having them all together in a community. For example, you can have people of different tribes, people from different religious backgrounds, people of different age groups, people from basically different backgrounds, people with different experiences, but have them in the same community, include them. So that's the whole aspect of diversity and inclusion. So why should we have diversity and inclusion? How does it impact the technology, the world of tech that we are in? First, it drives innovation. To be honest, there wouldn't be innovation if there wasn't diversity and inclusion, because it's when all these other backgrounds that I've mentioned are people from different tribes, people with different ages, different experiences. Some are experts, intermediates, beginners, and they all have different perspectives. They have different beliefs. But once they come together in, let's say, a women tech makers community, and they all have the same goal. Trust me, whatever will come out of there will be the greatest thing that you'll ever know. Because coming all together will mean they have different minds, so they will think about something innovative and they will definitely create innovative solutions. So, for us to have a diverse environment, that means we have to foster diversity and inclusion. Now, secondly, if there is a diverse community, if there are diverse teams in the society, then it means people with different skill sets, people with different strengths will have been brought together. So take an example in this WTM community. There are people whose strength is designing, the others have their strength is coding, and they have their strength is speaking. So once these three categories come together, one is a designer, one is good at speaking, and one is good at coding. So the designer will design, let's say, the interfaces of an application, and the one who is good at coding will definitely will do the development part of it, and the one who is good at speaking will definitely pitch to investors so that they can get money for the application that they've developed. So having diverse teams, having diversity in a community means that you have various skills together, you have various strengths together, and once you take advantage of them, then trust me, you will get the best out of the team, and you will have effective teams, you will have good innovations, and trust me, whatever comes out of diverse teams will be beneficial for the community. So, inclusion of women in technology also helps us to ensure that whatever we design, whatever we develop meets the needs of other people. Take an example of you're developing an application for, I'm sorry to say, but visually impaired people, but you don't have someone visually impaired on the team. Will you know their exact challenges? Definitely not. Yes, you're going to try to go on the internet and make research, but it's never enough until you hear it from someone who is going through the challenge. But if you have someone who is actually visually impaired on the team, trust me, they will tell you their exact challenges. They will tell you how they've been trained to navigate the challenges. They will thoroughly explain the challenge to you so that you can easily create a solution. So that means we have to include everyone on the team so that we can easily solve the challenges in the community. If you're trying to solve a challenge of any disease, let's say the world was facing the COVID-19 pandemic, and now you want to create a solution for that, maybe a solution for the people who contracted the disease. Would you make your research from the people who didn't get the disease? No, you definitely have to include someone who was affected by the disease, because it's them that know how it feels like once you've contracted the disease. So let's try as much as we can to include everyone, to include women, to include the men, whenever we are working on this team, so that we can know that the needs of the user we are developing for, the needs of the user that we are creating a solution for. And trust me, when we include everyone, then the solution will definitely satisfy the market, because I mean, you've made enough research, you've involved the person who has been facing the challenge, and the solution you've created will definitely solve the challenge you're trying to solve. The other thing would be the benefits that come along with having diverse environments. First, most companies always, whenever they're actually ranking, they always prefer companies that have women in top leadership. Now, I'm giving you an example. For example, here in Uganda, the CEO of MTN is a telecommunication network, is a female. Most CEOs of banks, okay, very many companies are female. Why? Because normally when the top leadership management is composed of ladies, then those companies have to outperform, because they believe women are perfectionists, women pay attention to details, like women have all those attributes. And talking about this, uh, I know most of us, the ladies in the house, are definitely going to relate to this. If you're a lady and you're you've seen let's say you're a web developer or you're an Android developer, and you've seen a call for an application, they are looking for a web developer or an Android developer, and you're just a beginner, you've just started you've just started learning, you're not yet a professional. Even when you can put out a website, a functional website, a functional mobile application, trust me, out of 10 ladies, only like 3 or 2 will apply for the job. Why? Because women are perfectionists. They will feel like, no, I don't have the skills enough. I feel like I'm not good enough to apply for this job, because we think we have to be so much perfect in order to apply for the job. So companies that have women tend to outperform, because women are perfectionists. They will do something to perfection before they can put it out there. And this contributes to the success of these companies. So in order for us to have a positive impact on the technology, then let us build inclusive and diverse environments. So, what are the benefits? Why should we have all these? Why should I talk about diversity and inclusion in our day to day lives? First, enhanced creativity and innovation, because I already mentioned this, through bringing together people from different backgrounds, different skills, will lead to the development of creative innovation. So, we have to create diverse environments in order for us to enhance creativity in our workplace, in our community, in our families. Now, if we have diverse and inclusive environments, that means problem solving and decision making will be easy, because I mean, you have the ladies on the team, you have the gents on the team. If something involves ladies, then you will easily make decisions, because you will ask the ladies on the team. If something involves the gents making a decision, then you will easily ask them and get to know from them, because you have them on the team, and that will make decision making easy. About problem solving, if you're creating a solution for the ladies, you're building an app, you're building a website, you're building a system to solve a challenge that is particularly faced by ladies, and you have the ladies on the team, trust me, it will make it easy, because you have ladies on the team and you will ask them, they will give you details about the challenge, and you will easily create an adaptable solution for them. The other thing is profitability and competitiveness. Like I mentioned, teams that have ladies in the top management always outperform. So you will definitely gain profits in a business, in a company, as long as you have ladies on the team, since we mentioned that ladies are perfectionists. Also, if you have ladies on the team, that means that you're well represented. You have ladies on the team, you have gentlemen on the team. So that means every gender is represented, regardless of all genders are represented. If you have all the genders on the team, then it means they are all being represented. And now it will make it easy for you to understand how you can satisfy their needs. All right, so now these are a couple of initiatives and programs that support and encourage diversity and inclusion. They are not limited to these that I've added, but there are very many, but these are the ones I could include. So first, there is an organization that has focused on empowering and advancing women in tech, She Code Africa. I don't know if you have a chapter of She Code Africa in South Africa, but it's one organization that I've seen that is really pushing women out there to shine in technology. They offer scholarships, they offer mentorship sessions, like they generally offer a lot, they offer laptops. So, and trust me, they're really doing well. It's one community you would want to be part of. Then there are other scholarships and grants all over the internet that are specifically for women pursuing STEM education. So all you have to do is just go to the internet, look out for, you can just type scholarships and grants for women in STEM. And trust me, you'll see a couple of them. See your, check the eligibility. If you're eligible, apply, go for it.
Hi, Sumaya. Sorry, we were shortly disconnected.
Oh, sorry.
So from now on, we'll just be connecting from Bona's um, computer. Okay, just confirm if you can see the.
I can see the audience.
Okay. Yes, then you can continue.
All right. So I was talking about the organizations and the different programs and initiatives that support and encourage women in technology. So I talked about the scholarships and grants that you can apply for as someone in STEM, and the mentorship programs. For example, the Women Tech Makers program. Trust me, Women Tech Makers has done a lot towards my advancement in technology. So, if I'm where I am now because of the Women Tech Makers community, how about you? How about you become very active in the Women Tech Makers community? How about you make use of the resources that are provided? Trust me, it will get you far. Then there are a lot of networking opportunities and events for women in tech. One thing I've done to like keep up with tech events is I go on platforms like Sessionize. I follow them on Twitter. Each I can attend. Then also Meetup, I keep on checking on Meetup and see events that resonate with me and I apply to attend. So you can as well do that because it's through these events that you will get networking opportunities, you will get the visibility. Like there is a lot more that comes with attending tech events. And you never know who you will meet, what opportunities you will get from them, and how you'll actually benefit from attending tech events. So yeah, make it a point to always attend tech events. All right, so now these are some of the strategies. I didn't exhaust everything, but these are some of the main strategies we can do so that we can create an environment for all of us. So first, make sure you're providing equal opportunities for a community. If you want to create a job post, don't say only females are encouraged to apply. No, that means you're leaving out the men. So you can be like all genders are encouraged to apply. If you're promoting people at your workplace, make sure you promote both genders. Don't promote only the lady and leave out the man. No, that's not inclusivity. And promote everyone so that there can be equality. If you're giving out scholarships in your community, if you have 10 scholarships, give 10 to women, give 10 to men. That's how we shall be equal. And mentorship and sponsorship, you can provide mentorship programs and opportunities for not only women but also men so that they can connect with industry leaders, experts, and also receive guidance and support from them. So you can get all this through the communities that I've actually mentioned. So once you become part of these communities, then you will easily get mentorship and sponsorship. Also, you should also offer professional development training, like in companies and organizations. You shouldn't stop on telling your employees to come to work. You shouldn't stop at the end of your parties. No, get self-development programs for them, workshops for them, so that they can personally develop, not only work for you, but also work to develop themselves. So offer programs and resources that can enable them to enhance their skills for the betterment of not only the company, but for themselves too. So Also, try as much as you can to dismantle biases in the community. There are a lot of biases, there are a lot of stereotypes. Try as much as you can to create awareness, educate your community members, educate your team members, employees, so that they can foster an inclusive environment. And try as much as you can to like cultivate diversity and inclusion from the top to down. You can start with the top management, tell them about how they can build inclusive environment so that by the time you get to the lower management, then the people at the top are doing what you expect out of them. So, as we come to the end of this presentation, one thing I encourage each one of us to know is that wherever your heart is, there you will find your treasure. This is a quote from The Alchemist, one of my favorite. And this, I understand it in a way that if you want something, if you feel like something, this is what you want in your heart, then go for it. What you want in your heart is where your treasure is. If you want to be that top product manager, that mobile app developer, then go for it. Take the step. That look for learning resources. Get a mentor. Like do all it takes for you to find your treasure. And once you've found it, then make the best out of it. So I'll take in questions for now, if there are any.
Thank you very much, Smile. Are there any questions for Smile? Any questions? Okay, I think Smile, you were very clear. It doesn't look like there are any questions from the floor. Maybe there was also that break that we had when we were slightly disconnected. But perhaps a question from my end would be in trying to foster diversity and inclusion, how do you also overcome cultural practices? So, for instance, in our culture, you need to be very respectful when you talking to a senior or male figure, and sometimes in work spaces now you need to make a valid point. You need to be able to make your point across. Still, sort of, navigating those cultural norms. Um, yes.
I didn't get that question unless you can help me type it in the chat section so that I can
Okay.
answer it.
Am I audible? Okay. Sumaya, can you hear
Yes,
me
please.
now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was asking in trying to foster diversity and inclusion, how do you also navigate the cultural norms and expectations for that are there?
All right. I think I got your question. In trying to foster diversity and inclusion, how would you navigate the different culture expectations and norms? So, first, like we said, try as much as you can to include everyone. If there are people of different cultures, include them and make room for their needs. People from this culture might need this, people from this culture might need this. This does not mean that you should get people from the same culture and put them together. No. You can try to set roles that favor everyone so that no one feels that they are left behind. And about our culture expectations, now this goes back to you. If you feel like you're going to do something that will rain your reputation in relation to your culture, then give it a second thought. And if it's something to do away without, then just leave it. But try as much as you can to include everyone, regardless of their cultural background. If something is against the culture norms, then you can do away with it. Yeah, I hope I've answered that correctly.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Once again, I think let us please give Sumaya a round of applause. Thank you for giving us your time on a Saturday to share those nuggets with us. So we will move on to the next speaker, who's going to be talking about the serverless technology. And for that, we have Lavi Jane, who is a senior software engineer at Prezi, a GDG Melbourne organizer, and also a Women Tech Makers ambassador. A tech inquisitive philomath, she loves problem solving and solution design. She has worked at a city council where she developed a lot of useful system integrations. And while at Prezi, she develops and works on multiple gift card solutions to cater to B2 or business to business to client market. Thank you very much and welcome, Lavi. Can we give her a round of applause?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, perfect. Cool. Hello, I'm Lavi Jain and I'm speaking to you all the way from Melbourne, Australia. So today I will be. Okay. So I'm a senior software engineer at Prezi, a Women Tech Maker ambassador, a GDG Melbourne organizer, and also a GCP cloud for serverless. And today we will be talking about something like a pro. So let me go screen. Can you see my screen well?
Yes, we can.
Can you see my screen? Yeah, okay, perfect. Awesome. So what we are going to do is we are going to look at what is serverless, and we are going to straight away go ahead and create a function. We'll explore what's beyond functions, and then I have got a little Memo demo for you. And then we'll be concluding it with some best practices. So what is serverless? Before I'd like to gauge the audience here. How many of you have deployed or provisioned any service before? Raise your hands. I'll have to look in really close.
I think we didn't hear the question.
Oh,
Can you
sure.
repeat the
How many of
question?
you here? Yeah, how many of you have provisioned or managed service before?
Provision
I have.
Cool. So we
or
have a few
serverless.
people, and yes. And how many of you here are just starting out with cloud and have heard of serverless?
I am still new
Okay.
to cloud. I'm still
Well,
learning
So you
cloud.
must put your hand really up,
I
ne?
haven't deployed any.
yes, this is better. Okay, that's good. Awesome. So, well, thank you for that. So, serverless, does it mean no service? Not really. You still have service, but you're not the one managing or provisioning them. It is done by the cloud provider. So, over the time, there has been a shift on focusing more on writing the business logic rather than managing the underlying structures. So, earlier, when we used to have physical servers, you would be doing all the configuration of the operating system, networking, patching it, and those servers would run even if you're not, you would be paying for an idle time. Then we moved on to virtual machines. Virtual machines obviously helped with better resource utilization, but you would still have to environment, the operating system, and all configurations. And then came containers. So if you have heard of Docker, they actually popularized the concept of packaging and deploying your application code along with dependencies so that it can run on any infrastructure. However, when it came to scaling, it was a bit challenging because you had to do a lot of manage those servers, and it always kept running. Again, you would be paying some price even for the idle time. And then we had serverless. So serverless allows you to abstract all the underlying infrastructure so that you can just focus on the business logic. So if your business logic is to add two numbers, that's all you need to worry about. You don't have to worry about which operating system, which machine, and all those things. One more thing that you would be responsible for would be where you would like your code to run. Where would you like to deploy it? You might want to deploy it closer to your customer. So, what serverless functions? Serverless functions are basically your single purpose modules of code. They can be in an HTTP call, so it's called an HTTP trigger, or they could be invoked on a schedule. So there is a trigger, and they could be invoked with different kind of events. And function has done its processing, say adding the two numbers and saving it in a database, vanishes and dies. And you can also have logging attached to your function so that you can understand the function's behavior for optimization and debugging. Now let's have a look at some pros and cons of serverless functions. As I mentioned, that your function runs its job and then it goes away. That means you're paying for the time it has run, only for the resources you have used. It is auto-scalable, high demand. It would automatically scale up and ensure that you have a smoother performance under spikes and scales down when there is no demand. Because now you're not working on the deployment or the infrastructure, basically. So you are able to bring your app faster to the market because you're only focusing on writing your own code. Next, polyglot. That means for serverless functions can be written in multiple languages: Java, Node, Python, Go, whatever option gives you lots of options to choose from. Is highly available. Because you're not managing the infrastructure and it's all the responsibility of the cloud provider, they try to make it highly available and less fault tolerant. Sorry. And then, of course, it has better resource utilization. Talking about some cons, as I mentioned, your functions need to be invoked. That means they're not always running. That means when they're invoked, there is a bit of a cold start, and hence there's a bit of a latency. In my experience, it's about 200 milliseconds or so. So if you're creating serverless functions for a customer-facing app, you might want to think twice. Then is statelessness. So any individual or parallel function calls, they wouldn't know about each other. There is no context shared between them. And hence, your functions are basically stateless. And we'll be talking more about this more in my upcoming slides. And then it offers limited customization. Of course, you're not worried about the infrastructure, so you have a little less control on what you want your functions to run on. But it still has a lot of things that you can choose on. But, okay. Now that you know about some pros and cons, we are going to straight away create a function. What we are going to do is we are going to create and debug an HTTP-triggered function that adds two numbers and will deploy a local CLI. Now, mind you, you can deploy or create functions either on the cloud provider console. So we're using GCP. You can do it on the GCP console. You can use text editor extensions. Going to do. But if you need a little bit more of hand holding, then there are advanced Duet AI or Gemini or Copilot to help you step by step. So if you're starting your cloud journey, then I would recommend at the end of this session, I would recommend going through, I'll be sharing my link tree that has a level listing like a pro. And I'm sure you would find it quite helpful to start writing serverless functions for the first time. Well, it also includes one of these tutorials we'll go through. So the reason I want to go through the tutorial is I want to show you how easy it is to actually write a serverless function and deploy it. So this is what the tutorial is all about, and it tells you what it wants you to do. And then before you begin, you want to go to your project selector. So I've got my console here, and I've got my project, Lavi's project here. I hope I don't have to zoom in further. Can everybody see it clearly? Okay, cool. Awesome. The next step is to enable the APIs. Now, one of the very critical ones, because you often write your code and you get so involved in it, you actually forget that you actually have to enable the APIs, and then it doesn't run. So that happens, and then you have to install the Google Cloud CLI and initialize and set up Node. Now, I have already done these steps. These are very standard and basic, and you can really do it yourself. Next up is to clone and look at the sample repository. Now, I want to show you this repository very for a reason. This repository has lots and lots of samples. So if you're off with Cloud Run or Cloud SQL or anything, it has lots and lots of examples. So if I want to look for functions, that's where I'll go to. And then I want to look at an HTTP triggered function. That's where I'll find HTTP triggered function. And that's why I'll find so many other examples. So if you're starting on your serverless, any other cloud journey, you will find these samples really handy. And we are going to do a very basic one. So let's actually go ahead and start creating the app. So I've opened the terminal, and I'm going to make a directory called demo functions. I'm going to go to demo functions and do a simple npm init, which is to initialize a very basic node project. And there we go. Yes. And that's initialized. Now I'm going to open this in my code editor. Now my code editor sometimes plays up, so bear with me as I open it in my new window. Just give me one moment. And open. This is my code editor. And I've opened demo functions here. I'll probably zoom it further. And now I'm going to create an index.js. And I've got some code, which is just to add 2 numbers. So that's there. So we are going to import this from Google Cloud. And then what we need to do is, this is an HTTP triggered function, whose name is add numbers. And it's going to take the 2 numbers, add them, print a result, and also give it as a response. That's it. And I'll open another terminal in here and just do a quick installation of this library there. So, ta-da! Okay, while that's happening, I'm going to add a start script. Now, unlike your basic node or project, the start script looks a little different because you're going to use the functions framework, and your target function is add numbers. And then it's a signature type of HTTP triggered function. So, well, oh, okay, sorry. I just installed that, and then it refreshed it, and then I can't do it. Anyway, I'm just gonna add it here. Oops. And it is add numbers. That's it. That's all I had to do. And if I do an npm start now, it's gonna run on localhost 880. Now I'm gonna open it in my Postman. And I have got a number A, which is equal to 4, B equal to 50. Now let's see if it is able to add. Yoo-hoo! It's able to add 2 numbers. It's 54. Let me do it as 45. Woohoo! 95. So it works. Well, now let's deploy it. It's very easy to deploy. So I've got the command ready. And what we are going to do is stop the server and paste. So my command is gcloud functions deploy, add numbers, trigger is HTTP, runtime is Node.js 18, and we want the type to be Gen2. And once we do that, it's going to ask me where I want to deploy it. So because I'm in Australia and I'm closer to Melbourne, I'm in Melbourne, so Australia Southeast 2 is closer to Melbourne. So I give it that one. And then it's going to ask me whether or I want to allow unauthenticated invocations. I would say yes, go for it. Allow everybody. All right, so while that's doing it, let's go ahead and check out our console. I'm going to go here and go to find the cloud functions. And woohoo, I see add numbers, which is coming up. it is still being deployed. So that was really quick. So as it is coming, you would see there are some details, such as it's deployed in Australia Southeast 2, or some memory is already allocated to it. There's one CPU timeout and things. You can even view all the source code here, and you can edit the source code here itself. As I was saying, you can edit your functions in on console. You can see any variables, and this is your trigger. So I'm just going to copy the trigger. You can copy it from here or there, anywhere. And then you also can also see some logs. So this is my previous run. So the logs are coming from previous runs, but anyway, you can just avoid it. And you will see once it's green, we can actually run it in our Postman. Okay, looks like it has finished. Yes, it has finished. Awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and use it in my Postman. And let's this time do 40 and 50 and see. Woohoo! It's able to do it. So we've created a function locally and deploy it already on GCP. So that's how easy it was to do it. If I just refresh the logs, you'd also see the sum of A and B, whatever, 40, 50 is 90. Well, it takes some time. So there you go, result is 90. So that was the demo. Now let's get back to our slides and continue talking about what's beyond functions. Now, you must have observed that I have been using serverless. Sorry, is there? Okay. I have been using serverless and functions interchangeably, but it is more than that. Serverless is more like a paradigm shift towards how we build and deploy our applications while we abstract underlying infrastructure complexity. You can deploy an entire stack of services that respond to specific events or requests, and they can scale to zero, no longer in use. And for provisioning and management of the cloud provider handles all those things. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes because those details are invisible to developers, but you save a lot of money. So let's have a look. We have serverless database and storage. Unlike your normal databases, where you have to specify how much you want to provision it for, serverless allows you to scale automatically. It has options for built-in replication and global distribution. Then there are serverless containers. I mentioned about containers that they are a way to packaging so that they could be run on any platform, right? But when it came to managing, it was challenging because it required quite a lot of orchestration and resource management. With serverless container platforms, away all the complexities of this managing of instances and clusters. And it can scale automatically based on demand, and you would pay only for the resources that you use. The thing that you want to look for serverless container platform in GCP is called Google Cloud Run. For AWS, it's Fargate, and Azure, it's container instances. Serverless data processing. Now, there's a bit of a difference between storage and processing. What we're talking about here is ETL, which is extract from load workloads, right? So there's data analysis, real-time processing, batch processing, simulations, AI data model processing. These kinds of jobs consume a lot of CPU and memory and execution time. So serverless allows to abstract away all of the complexities of distributed processing. And again, you pay for the resources you need. If you want to take a CSV, transform it, and get a JSON out of it, you would be focusing on that logic and nothing related to servers and machines that would be used. What you'd be looking for is Cloud Data Flow, Azure Data Factory, or Amazon Kinesis. Finally, serverless workflows. Now, serverless workflows can be done in visual editors or declarative YAML syntax. They automate complex business processes by chaining together various tasks and services, all without managing service. It's very useful in building integrations. And because you have a visual editor or YAML, it offers you to go on a low code, no code approach. So what you'd be looking for is Google Workflows or Microsoft Logic Apps or AWS step functions. Now, I mentioned something called chaining. I'd like you to. So, say we have a customer, they add a product to their cart. What we want is, as soon as they add the product to the cart, grab the customer information and product information, put it in an email template, and send out that email to the customer saying, hooray, you have added this product to the cart. Now, one way of doing it in serverless function is you actually do this in one function, but functions timeout. So in that case, what you would do is you would go on and do functions chaining. As soon as a customer adds a product to the cart, first function is triggered. This function grabs customer and product information and triggers a second function. A second function grabs all that information, puts it in an email template, and triggers a third function. And the third function then finally sends out an email. This way, you have passed on some context from one function to the other. And that's why it's called functions chaining. Now that we are talking about chaining, I would like to highlight the concept of statelessness and going from statelessness to statefulness. Now, being stateful is about being able to have data about past interactions or sessions. Now, as I mentioned, individual function calls, they don't really know what happened previously or what's the user context. And hence, to make them or pass on that context, you can do chaining. It is important, it's very useful when it comes to passing context such as user attempts, session IDs, or intermediate processing results. So, as I mentioned, the first way is chaining. Second could be you can do fan in and fan out. So, where you trigger multiple functions in parallel that they would do the processing. You can then get the wait for them to finish and get the aggregate and call another function. You can also have long-running applications or async APIs. So say one of your functions is doing an external call and takes really long to finish off. So instead of the client to wait and get timed out, it actually points it to the status endpoint. And the client can continuously poll and learn when the operation is finished. Well, if you do not like any of these options for conserving the state, there is alternatively an option to cache your data. So you can use in-memory caching solutions such as Cloud Memory Store or Elastic Cache in AWS or Azure Cache for Redis to temporarily cache stateful data within the serverless functions execution environment. By the way, you can also implement webhooks in serverless. Now that I'm talking about webhooks, I need to talk about event-driven architecture, which is like the face of the puzzle. In an event-driven architecture, the flow of data and control in the application is driven by events. So earlier, when a customer was adding the product to their cart and was invoking a function, instead of invoking a function, what it's going to do is it is going to put this information or publish this information to an event bus or topic. Now, I would have a serverless function subscribing to this information or topic, and it sees, okay, the topic has got some data that is relevant to me. I'm ready to consume it, fetches that data. And then it gets the customer information, product information, and puts it on another queue, which is your next queue to where it has all the customer information and product information. There could be two subscribers to it. One is the data processor, which wants to process what items are added by customers. And it could be also another that serverless function, which is going to generate the email template. And then finally, it could be chained to the email sender function. So you also have chaining, you also have event-driven things all together. So it all depends on the problem that you're trying to solve. But with architecture, the communication is actually done by publishing and consuming events, and it helps loosely coupled infrastructure, loosely coupled architecture. So your app becomes much more resilient. Let's look at microservices. Now, this can also be built and operated using pairs or containers. Serverless has gained significant momentum given its attributes around small bits of code, inherent in automatic scaling, rapid provisioning, and a price model that never charges you for an idle capacity. Next up, API backends. You can create fully featured API, plug them with an API gateway that brings additional security, OAuth support, rate limiting, and custom domain support. Next, BFFs. They are my favorite topic. So BFFs are basically your backends for front ends. I have done a whole talk on this. At the end of the talk, you that link me. It has a link to the talk. Please feel free to browse through it. Well, BFFs are your backends for front end. They're not a backend. They're not a front end. They're a thin layer between your backend and your front end, which acts as a custom backend to fulfill the needs of that particular front end. So you can create BFFs using serverless. Then there is data processing. Of course, as I mentioned, you can do more ETL stuff, structured, unstructured data, OCR, etc. You can do stream processing, which is you can have real-time data processing pipelines, process data, financial market data, etc. You can develop a lot more integrations. And it is when you have legacy app and you want them to communicate to your new infrastructure or cloud or something like that. So for example, I used to work where we used to have a use case, a file was put on an FTP. Now, that file needed to be also put onto our cloud database. But how? So we developed an integration, picked up that file, added detail, transformed it, added details to the database, and then the transform file was sent back to the FTP at a different location so that it could be again used by the legacy app. So you can do a lot of similar things with it. Finally, low code, no code. Now, with low code, no code, it empowers a lot of users to develop their own minor integrations, helping automate day-to-day tasks. So, all right, are you ready for a memo demo? So what we are going to do is we are just going to look some memes. Well, no, not really. We're not just going to look at some memes. We are going to look at the memes, but I'm going to put those memes to a cloud storage. And this cloud store, well, when I do that, it's going to trigger a function. This cloud function gets the information about that image and publishes it to an image queue. And then what happens is my Cloud Run application is subscribed to this queue. And then it grabs all the information about the image. It reads that image using Cloud Vision API and then sees all the text in it. If it finds GCP, Google, Microsoft, Azure, AWS, or Amazon, it takes out those keywords and publishes them on a cloud console. Once it has published it, the cloud workflow, when it's ready, it consumes it and actually populates the count in the sheet. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you the sheet first because it makes much more sense. So this is my cloud. This is my cloud provider, GCP, AWS, Azure, and the count for it is 0. So let's actually have a quick look at our first meme of the day. And it is this one. So it has got AWS. So now let me just go ahead and upload it to my cloud storage bucket. So this is my cloud storage. And I'm going to go ahead and upload it. This image is now uploaded. Now if I go ahead and look at the image queue function, which is my cloud function, I would see that this image was uploaded. And this is the message that's there. It's triggered and it has published it on the topic, which is image queue topic. Now, if I go to this image queue, I could actually pull the messages and I would see the details like this: name one, meta and time created and all those things. And now this is subscribed by my Cloud Run. And when my Cloud Run looks at it, it does a lot of calculation about that image and takes and sees that, oh, it found the word AWS. And then it goes ahead and puts this message on another queue, which is a cloud name queue. And you can see the message as AWS, which is picked up by the cloud workflow. Oh, I forgot to add the workflow here. Let me wait. Let me show you the workflow. Uh, uh-huh. Okay, that's my workflow. And this is what it looks like. It checks the message and then finally updates the cloud sheet. There you go. It's already populated. Now let's do another one. The second meme of the day is this. It has got Microsoft Azure. Now let's see if I upload this one, it increases the count or not. Okay, so putting it this here, and we'll wait for the sheet to upload while I'll try to. Whoo, there you go. It got both Microsoft and Azure. So it has uploaded and increased the count to two, which is good. The third meme of the day is this one. It has GCP. I don't know how many of you have done this. I have. I'm guilty of doing it. So, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and upload this one here. Sorry. Nope. Did I close this? And wait for my cloud sheet. It should pick up and increase the count for GCP. Woohoo! It did that. Well, I have more memes. I can share them with you later on, but I think we might be out of time if I do that. So I'll continue with the talk and bring slides.
Thank you very much, Lavi. I think the last part of your
Sorry,
talk.
for some reason I can't.
Lavi, can you hear?
I think there's something wrong with internet. Hello?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, we can. Can you hear us? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I can. There was a bit of internet glitch there for a moment. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Yeah, I'll just continue sharing my screen. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Are you done?
No, I'm just wrapping up. Sorry. I think there was
Okay.
a bit of
All right.
internet glitches. Yeah.
No problem.
We were at. Okay. Let's conclude it with what we need to do and what should we be doing. So when we are doing any serverless functions, we should be writing some focused small functions, single purpose functions. Don't put, you can leverage event driven architecture. It will help you decouple your application and make it much more resilient and scalable. Implement efficient monitoring and logging. Don't forget about it. It's very, very important. And then you can use multiple caching mechanisms. And don't forget to design for security. I don't remember this, but when we deployed our application and the serverless application me to allow unauthenticated access, and I allowed it to do that. It's you shouldn't be doing that. I just did it for the demo. But anyway, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, any questions?
Thank you
Yes.
very much. Any questions from the floor? There should be questions. Yes, thank you.
Hello everyone. Hello, lovely presentation. My question is not based on your presentation. So I'd like to just give the reason behind my question before I ask it. So here's my perspective. Um, with women growing up, or when we look at women in the past years, when you look at the trends, you have more women wanting to be doctors, nurses, therapists, counselors, all those careers that require I'd say the woman nature of caring and being kind to everyone. So my question is, Lavi, for you listening to your presentation, you feel like someone who is passionate about technology, who knows what they're doing. And I'm just curious to know, has it been a passion ever since you were young, growing up, or it's something that you just realized right now at your, I don't know, maybe age, or whatever age you are right now? Yeah, because women, a girl growing up and a boy growing up are totally different. When you see a girl growing up, they're more exposed to, I don't know, dolls and all those things that inflict the caring and being kind and taking care. You know, they learn to cook at an early age, they learn to take care of the family at an early age. So it's more of caring. Therefore, the careers that they pursue are still, they tend to go for the ones that come natural to them. And when you see a boy growing up more exposed to toys that are more machinery, therefore, when they see technology, they are not intimidated. So when a woman sees technology, then it doesn't come naturally. So I'm just curious to know, has it been your passion ever since? And if it hasn't been, what changed the dynamic for you to be so fluent in technology? Yes, I think
Um,
that's my question.
nice question, actually. So I have been very passionate about technology since I got my first computer when I was in class four. But if you talk about specifically, I think there's a bit of echo.
Your connection is breaking just a little bit.
Uh, anyway, the echo.
Okay, but we can hear you now. You can continue.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So I love technology. I have been passionate about it since I got my first computer. But if we talk about software engineering or specifically development, I did my master's in information management and systems. So those students usually become BAs and go into project management roles. But I have been a part of GDG for quite a while actually. And I used to be with developers all the time. And that's why when I got my first internship, which was in development, I was a little scared to be honest, but loved it. I literally love doing development. And since then, I have been a developer. So it's more like that. If you won't try it, you wouldn't really know. So I would say if you want to try it, go out to these communities. They're very helpful in building that kind of interest and getting you hands on something. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Okay. Uh, I think there's one more question from Rele Kohile. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. Sorry. This is online hand raised.
Okay, thank you. I heard you about Softlace, and you said it does not just not managed by us as developers. So I have a question based on the trigger function. The time we are making the request, we make the API order.
Sorry, I do not understand your question. Can you say that again?
Okay. Uh, about the right?
Yes.
You say we said that we can make the request. Uh,
Yeah.
the request like get and post, and are we making those requests
Yeah. So
directly
because
to
my
the DB server?
using a database. If some what my function is doing, it's a trigger as in something that you can invoke the function from. It's an HTTP trigger. That's why you're doing an HTTP request to it, and it automatically it automatically triggers, picks up whatever I'm passing it in the body, and then processes something and gives an output.
Or it doesn't communicate to interface.
Your example could have it and it could communicate. Ideally, in the real world, it would.
Okay. Again, I heard you said that you have to enable this for it to work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I didn't connecting the trigger function to this
Okay.
for it to work.
So there is a bit of a confusion when you would see that as an API. That API is for your internal Google project or Google account to be able to access or allow it use cloud functions. So you are enabling those APIs. You're not enabling like a API, if you know what I mean. It's
Oh,
more about granting your account an access. Yes.
and that again on that trigger function, can we integrate other maybe let's suppose I want to involve Stripe, for example.
Yeah.
Would I be able to do that?
Well, you can integrate with Stripe if you want. Yeah, for sure. If you have the API key, go for it.
Oh, again, can I be able
No worries.
to use the Docker offline development?
Yeah, so for your local development, you would be using Docker. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Tabang, if you do not mind, can we get a selfie?
She just went out for a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
If you
I
don't
think.
mind, I'll just quickly take a screenshot.
Okay.
Thank you. I just got a screenshot.
All
Thanks.
right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Lavi. And let us please give her one more round of applause. Okay. So Taban just went out. I think she was trying to connect with the other speaker that was supposed to be next. But in the absence, she asked that we move on to our next speaker, who is fortunately with us this side. We've been listening to the online community. Fortunately, we have another one that's here with us. So we're going to welcome Ona Mahapi, who is a computer scientist. She's an accomplished cloud security professional and alumni of the Cyber Girls Africa. It's the biggest female-focused cybersecurity fellowship by the CyberSafe Foundation. Through this program, she gained globally sought-after cybersecurity skills and acquired many certificates. Currently, she serves as the curator of the World Economic Forum Initiative, the Global Shapers, as you can see here, Maseru Hub, where she works on meaningful projects such as the impact her community. Additionally, as an Africanist climate activist, she is involved in a few campaigns such as Keep Your Promise, hashtag youth, for adaptation, finance, and many more. She even delivered an impactful talk at the UNFCCC COP28 conference in Dubai 2023 and at the Mozambique pavilion of the intersection of cybersecurity and climate change. Whenever there's work to be done at the intersection of tech and social good, you'll likely find her name attached. Her expertise makes her a valuable leader working on issues that affect Africa and beyond. Our very own Kwana Mahasi. You're gonna project it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's just okay. Um. How can I just do this? Did you hear? Okay. Can you just confirm that you can see the screen to the team that's joining online?
Do you mind sharing it from your laptop?
Okay, while we wait for that, thank you very much for having me. I want us to do a very small exercise. It's a 1 or 2 minutes meditation. So I'll just guide you through that.
Okay.
Okay. Can you please close our eyes, breathe in, and just relax here. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Now, I want you to remember a time when you were a child and you had dreams of becoming someone you are today. I want you to remember dreaming of going to varsity, and then I want you to remember and be grateful that at the end you managed to get through varsity. Now, I want you to imagine you having all these dreams, having your dreams accomplished, having everything you ever wanted. And I want you to imagine yourself how it feels to have the success you always wanted. I want you to think of someone you love. It could be your mother, it could be your husband, your wife. And I want you to picture that face so they see you accomplishing all your dreams. Now, I want you to breathe in again, breathe out. I want you now to think of a person you're sitting next to. I want you to be grateful that you are in this session, that you have listened to all the speakers talk, and you are about to listen to more speakers. And I want you to be grateful for this session. I want you to have an intention for the session today and walk away with something. I want you to breathe in, breathe out again. I want you to be grateful for yourself and be proud of where you are today. Be proud that you are strong enough and you made it to this point in your life. I want you to breathe in again and breathe out and gently open your eyes. Gently open your eyes. Welcome back. Wow. Sorry guys, my voice, I lost my voice due to flu and I was so nervous on Thursday. The voice was gone and I wondered how I'm going to do it today, but what is good, no?
Can you just confirm that I can see the screen? Can you also hear? Also.
Very, very softly.
Thank you.
I thought we were still doing the exercise.
It was completed. I think you try to put the mic closer.
Okay, I'll try to put the mic closer.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about that, myself. I hear it's you. So today I'm gonna tell a story of a little girl who grew up in Mafeking. My name is Mpona Mohapi, and I'm from Mafeking, and currently staying between Mafeking and Tsote. Well, and I'm just here to tell a story of someone from a very small village. Or I forgot we have people who are not Basotho, but I'm just saying she came from a small family. Her parents were, just ordinary people, man. But I'm here to tell a story because I believe that with that story, I might inspire someone. So, the title is She Breaks Barriers, The Rise of a Cyber Girl. I call myself a cyber girl because I am very passionate about cybersecurity. Like mentioned, I'm a cloud security engineer, and I'm trying to make sure that we stay safe for life. Yes. So, moving on to the next slide, I'm just gonna share my story bit by bit, and I hope I don't cry in this one because it's very emotional. So this is a story of a girl who was in university for 6 years for a course that had to take only 4 years. Then it was rough. I was studying computer science at the National University of Lesotho. But along the way you get the road gets bumpy and then you never know. So it was very heartbreaking seeing the people I came to school with, getting jobs, graduating, and everything, and me repeating the same language, the same subject over and over again. But then, like I said, God is always good. Yeah. Then after that, I was unemployed for about 2 years. Just imagine me being unemployed because I think I've always volunteered in many organizations, just mentioning a few from a very early age. Red Cross, I've worked with UNDP, I've worked with UN, I've worked with Skillshare, I've worked with so many organizations. I was sure that after visit, I'm getting the job right away. But hey, you never know. I was unemployed for 2 years and very depressed because people kept on asking me, Awena, why are your organizations? Because you're always talking about the organizations. Where are they now? Where are your connections? And then, like I said, I volunteered most of the time, making sure that I serve my community in every way I can. So bad, me volunteering and being unemployed, not even getting a cent was very depressing for almost 4 years. I was literally just depressed. And then moving on to the next slide, I read a book, like I think one speaker asked if we know of any people in technology who have achieved something, right? And then I talked about Sheryl Sandberg, the one that wrote the book LinkedIn. It's called LinkedIn. So the book talks about how people, how you can uh, build confidence in yourself. Be confident enough. Like when we are in a room like this, we should the women have a tendency of being shy, né? And then when we ask the question, men are always the first people to raise their hands, right? So that book was suggested by my friend who were in Rwanda on some meditation retreat, and then she was participating and everything, and I was like, I approached her at the end of our session, and then I said, I want to be like you. Now teach me how to be like you. And then she gave me the book. And then as I read through the book talked about how you should challenge yourself as a woman. You should not always be, you should challenge yourself. And then if the first question is asked in the room, always be the first one to raise up your hand. Even if you don't know what to say, just raise up your hand and things will come. For example, if we're about to ask if who wants to be the next prime minister of Lesotho, I'm pretty sure that most people who are males are gonna raise up their hand, right? As the female, we say money, but deep inside. So the book is talking about how you should raise your hand up. You should always make sure that you challenge yourself. So after reading that book, I challenged myself. I said, you know what? I'm always going to raise up my hand, even if I'm just commenting on something. So today I was not raising that much because I was saving my voice for this for this session. Yeah? So everywhere I go, I raise up my head and then I'll think later, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? But then that has very helped me get a lot of opportunities, meet a lot of people because people like people who are participating, who are speaking. Because if you are not speaking, if you're just sitting there, I'm not going to know what you want. I get it. I'm not going to know what you need. I might not know how to help you, right? So I started speaking out, and it's very fun to speak. But then for me, it's fun because I am very shy, but I like speaking. So every time I'm trembling, even now, I'm just scared. I'm like, oh, I just want to finish this presentation. But then I'm always speaking. I like that. So I started speaking on many events, and then people started seeing my potential, like what I could do. And then I remember this other time we were in Africa Climate Summit in Kenya last year. So it was during a break session, and I was um, I was just chosen by someone, and they said, "You're going at the panel as a speaker." Just imagine, as a speaker, what am I gonna say? And then they say, just go with the flow. You can do this. And then I did speak because they had seen me, commenting, speaking, everything. So they were really impressed. So another program that changed my life is the Cyber Girl program. It's a cybersecurity program that empowers the young women in cybersecurity in Africa to make sure that we have the skills. We have the skills in cybersecurity. Even the people who do not come from the tech background know that after they come out of the project, after the program, they come out perfectly because the way the sessions are delivered, they are delivered in a very simple way. It's not like school where you are taught yeah, complex things because in university I remember I used to hate cybersecurity so much. But then here I just loved it. I loved everything about it. So that's when I started leaning in. And after graduating from this, it's a 7 months program. You can always go to on Google and search for Cyber Girls or Cyber Safe Foundation. So it's open to everybody, and it's for free because it's trying to empower the young women that we have. And then moving on to the next slide. I'm just gonna share a bit about my experience. So the first picture is where I was teaching the girls. There's a called like a girl program by the Vodacom and UNICEF. So I was coming in as a Camara. There's a company called Camara. I was coming in as a Camara facilitator to ensure that we go to schools in different districts and teach the kids how to develop a website in a very basic way. Yeah? So this is where we're doing that, and I also went back again because they saw that this girl is like she's bringing the unique things we need. Man. Yeah. She's always talking, even if she doesn't know what to say, but then talk meaningful things, not just talk every day. So they brought me back again to go and do career guidance and just try to um, guide to empower the high school kids on how to enter the tech world. And then the second one is when I was in Dubai, and then I was in COP28. It's the biggest climate negotiations in the world. So where the government leaders are going, the country leaders, like everybody was there, and I was part of the delegation in Lesotho with Mugote there. Where yeah. So what I did there, so these people, I'm a climate activist, ne? So they know that I'm very passionate about cybersecurity. I'm always saying, guys, I'm working on the project. Please help me work on a project to merge cybersecurity and climate. And people do not understand the intersection. And I say there's intersection there, and I'll find it. So since they know that I am very passionate about it, one of my friends suggested me to be the speaker and go and talk to the global on global stage on the intersection of cyber security and climate change. It was very tricky for a moment because I thought, oh my God, what did I get myself into? What am I gonna say? Because yeah, I'm talking to the experts, I'm talking to the professors, I'm talking to the world leaders, I'm talking to the government officials. What am I gonna say? But what I always like to say is just be you. Nah, even if I feel like I'm not bringing much to the table, what I bring is enough. I do that. So here it's the cleaning campaign that we did in Botabute. I think it was the past 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm just trying to show that I get my hands dirty wherever there's help needed. I use slides where people get confused. Oh, wait, now are you in tech? Are you in climate? Are you in, health? What are you in? But I'm always say I'm just a change maker. And then the networking. Now I like networking a lot. Even in this room, I'm sure that I'm gonna leave the room having to talk to so many people because that has opened a lot of opportunities. I always make sure that if I come in a session with someone I know, I make sure that I go and sit next to the other person so that we can discuss. So my opening line will always be, "Hi, I'm Bonama Happy from Lesotho. Who are you? And where do you come from?" So that way you would find that you even speak to the people you never thought you would speak to. Yeah. And then going to the next slide, these are just my experiences of me exploring the world. And I am very, very, very grateful that I have explored the world with the skills that I am bringing, with the bit that I am bringing to the table. That, well, just because I am me, it opens a lot of doors for me. So what I do normally is I remember we had a session with it was Shape Careers again with the Global Shapers. And then we brought in another mentor. I didn't know his name, and then he kept on going. His name is Lotana Makoto. And then I was very inspired by his talk. And then after I went to I sent him an email personally. I said, "I want you to mentor me." Then he was very surprised. "Hi, Boo. What do you mean I want to?" I said, "I want to be more like him. Ne? In a period of 2 years, I want to be more like you or even better than you. So I need you to mentor me." Then I started making a research on mentorship on how best you can make mentorship effective. And then one of the ways is you should come with an intention to a mentor. The people who do the work are the mentees, not the mentors. There, because if you want to achieve something out of the mentorship, you should write it down. Okay? You should be clear that I want to achieve this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go to your mentor with it because for now they're just guiding. So if we're not doing the work, it won't be effective. So even with Manama Parisa, I saw him. I saw her on social media doing a lot of things. You know what I did? I went to LinkedIn inbox. I said, "I saw you are doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want you to mentor me." Then she said, "How?" I said, "I want you to mentor me." I remember we had a very long conversation because she didn't understand the angle I was coming from. Then I didn't understand, but I wanted to know that I wanted to be like her. So I said, "You know what? I want you to introduce me to these communities that you have, the international and the local ones. For every event that you're having, I want to be there and not just there as a participant. I want to go there as someone else." And then I started. I joined the Google Developers Master, Google Developers Group Master, right? So that's where I got to meet Binyani and everyone. So again, at the far that side, it's a STEAM conference and Sibabato conference, which was held last year by the Sibabato actually, which is Sibabato Satuna Hall, the conference that was last year, right? So what happened there is I came in as one of the youth representative organizing the whole event. So my friend brought in, Jeff called me and said, "I know you can deliver. Ne? I want you to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and come and join us." Because now I do things without expecting any payment. Because with money, there's no relationship. If you go with someone and say, "I can do this for 100 magudu or something," and then they give you 100 magudu. After that, there's no relationship, right? But if you can say, "You know what, just let me show you what I can do," and then maybe next time when you have something better, you can always call me again. So that's what I do. Even with the STEAM conference, I went in that way. So I was even the only girl. So it was very frustrating having to, having to, hi, just say it was frustrating. But then it was fun and I learned a lot because I remember during the closing ceremony, our Prime Minister Mr. Matikane was even saying, Enoki, Hannah, what is the name of Kinzwai? Kinzwai again. And she was saying Kinzwai Yenan because she's the only girl. So, funny thing is, on the middle picture in Ethiopia, where I was presenting about loss and damage, né? So in climate change, the funny thing is, I was not aware that I was one of the speakers until in the morning, someone came to me. In fact, I went to a friend of mine and I said, I want to get most out of this event. What do you think I can do to make sure that I go home changed? And then he said, when you are one of the speakers. So I started researching. What am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? But I think I did okay. I don't know. I think I did okay. And it was very fun. It was not even something that I was following, the thematic area that I was following. Loss and damage. I was following something. I was following the money, climate finance. But then they said I should follow. I should present on this. And then here, the cybersecurity online sessions. So we have seen that there have been many breaches actually of where people are getting hacked, making an example of our very own the central bank, Ministry of Communications, and again. So what I did with my friends was I started making online awareness about cybersecurity, and then here it was when I brought in my sisters from the program that I was in of cybersecurity. She's from Kenya and Nigeria, where I was hosting the session on Twitter about how we can stay safe online. So when you go to people, you go with simple things, like you don't go with complex things. So here we're just discussing on how how you can stay safe online. Don't click on these links, but we're even hoping to continue with the cybersecurity sessions online, even physical with the global shapers. And on my personal social media, I'm planning to do fun TikTok videos of always update your softwares and everything. I'm almost done. I'll make sure that I finish fast. So the lessons that I have learned, and I'm still learning up to today because I feel I'm not where I want to be. Um, Invest in yourself. So the International Women's Day theme for this year is investing. One of the themes is invest in women, right? Yeah. Now I say start with investing in yourself. In as much as the government, in as much as our parents, in as much as the organizations are investing in the women, in us the women, we should always invest in ourselves. When I joined the Global Shapers, I made it a point to say, hey, it's like I'm not doing anything with my life. You know what? I'm gonna do this. The data that I get, I'm gonna make sure that I pay data a monthly contract to make sure that I study online, to make sure that I make researches online, to make sure that I do. I remember being a global shaper, like we're talking with Kato and look at that. I was still in National University of this. I was still a student, and you know how the money gets. It felt like happy, but with that, whenever there was a meeting, I was there. I made sure to invest in myself in things that would benefit me in future. And then seek mentorship, like I said, if you know someone, if you're thinking of someone who could mentor you, just approach that person. Even if you are scared, just go to them. You won't die. What's the worst that could happen? You won't die. Just approach them. And I remember that during the our event, Women in Corporate, you said you approached someone on LinkedIn, right? A very important person in the country, and then she responded nicely. So always seek mentorship where you can, and then challenge yourself and take risks. With this one, it can be very challenging, and it gets very challenging because I can't remember how many jobs I have quitted, saying no, this is not what I want, this is not what I was hoping for. But then in our country, it is so sad that most of us get underpaid, and then if we are saying I'm studying, it means you're gonna be broke. I get it. You're studying online, you're gonna be broke. You won't even have money for the I get it. But now I'm only saying, you know what? I'm just taking this risk and then I will see. So I'm always taking risks if I feel like the job where I am, like the job I'm doing, is not benefiting me in any way, or it's not challenging me. I like challenges. Now I run. Oh, quickly, I run and go and seek for other things. Sometimes I don't even tell my family what I could tell my mom is, I'm studying online. She doesn't know that I'm taking the risk because she's gonna think, are you mad? Okay. So my biggest fear in life is being in the same spot for many more years. Making an example, let's say I once had this job where I earned 2,000 monthly. So he wanted to, you know what, I'm gonna, the whole year, I'll be coming here and going home without me improving on anything. Then I said, you know what, let me leave this job and then I'll see how I can challenge myself. And then I did leave. I just told my mother that, I have to go and study online. But then God is good. I came, I received so many opportunities. And then here, this one, I think most of the speakers said about this one is that you should pull someone up, right? Help someone up. When you have achieved something, go to your friend, go to someone who is seeking out your help and help them, because in that way, even if some of the kids come seeking mentorship from you, just challenge yourself and do it, because through that, you're going to learn a lot of things about yourself. You're going to learn about your capabilities, about your dreams. You're going to learn a lot. So just pull someone up, even if it means on your own expenses. Just do it for them, and you will see the universe. I like the laws of the universe. It will come back to you in good ways. And then I said network and network and network. Oh, this one is never ending. Always make sure that one person said to me, if you had 2 minutes with the president of America, what would you say? Like in 2 minutes, what would you say? So I want you to, every time you network, say something effective within that time. Okay, even if it's a minute, make sure that you portray the good points of who you are, who you want to be, and what you're trying to achieve from our relationship. Just do it within that time, and then you'll be good. And then please tell your story, no matter how small you think your story is, or no matter how big you think uh, your story is for us. I am pretty sure that someone else is going to learn from your story, is going to inspire someone else. Just imagine if you changed me, and then I change her, and I change her, and I change. The whole world is gonna be changed with your story. I get. And then, like I said, people ask who I am because they feel confused. I mean, climate change. I mean, meditation. I mean, health. I mean, what? So I'm a youth leader, I'm a developer, a teacher, a student, a mentor, mentee, Israel, Cyberville. So what I say, going on to the next slide. So what I always tell people on my social media, because my social media can be very confusing. Today I post about technology. The next day I post about climate change. The next day I post about empowering the women. So I'm just saying I'm a change agent, regardless of how I deliver, regardless of how I sell. Now I'm a change agent. I make sure that wherever my community needs me, I am there. So I always make sure that whether I have cybersecurity skills, I'm going to mesh with the skills that I have. I'm going to use my cybersecurity in climate change. I'm going to use my climate change skills in something else, in mental health. So I always make sure that I find intersection so that it doesn't make me crazy. So thank you very much. So this is where you can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, I'm happy on Facebook, even on Twitter and Instagram. It's just I'm happy. Thank you very much. I'm hoping to network with you guys and working together on amazing projects. Thank you. Question?
Okay, so thank you very much. I think we are a bit running late in terms of time. So what we'll do at the end of this, fortunately she's still around, and then we'll have that round of questions. So we also realized that the person that we had skipped is still around. So we're just going to go back to uh, ooh, Bemisola Esho, who is going to take us through generative AI. So let us please welcome her. If we can stop sharing.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Hi, welcome. Can
Hi.
you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Can you?
can.
Oh, awesome.
Your camera is a bit blurry though.
Yes, I blurred
But
the background,
okay.
but let me just leave it because people are just walking around, and I don't know if that's okay. So just put it back. Okay. Hello, ladies. Hello, everybody there. I hope you've been having a very good time. Hi. It's nice to be here again. So I was with you at Death Fest, and I'm happy to be back. Oh, you've heard so much from different speakers. While I'm here today, I'm going to talk to you about generative AI. And I'm sure most of the people in this room will have heard about generative AI because it's a buzzword. But I think, just as she said, maybe I should just turn on more lights so you can see me better. So just give me 1 minute to turn on some more lights.
I have a question.
Okay, I
Yes,
think
Master.
this will suffice. This should work. This should be better.
So, do all developers use ChatGPT?
Okay, so um, well, I figure many, but I don't use ChatGPT. I use Gemini, which is former bad by Google. And you've been hearing all sorts of things. Oh, artificial intelligence is coming to take over our jobs. Oh, there's this evil that is going to turn into, they're going to go rogue and all that. But I'm here today to, introduce to some of you, for those that not know what generative AI is or what artificial intelligence is. And when you live here, you're going to be a trainer, a WTM trainer. I hope that would be possible, but that's what I'm here to do. My objective is that everybody that listens to me today will be able to go back and train other people about generative AI. So, am I going to share from my end or are you sharing from your end? Puna,
Please
am I?
share from your end.
Okay, awesome. Let me just go ahead. The slides are a lot. I try to compress them, but let's see how far we can go. I really tried. So here we are. Here we are. We are actually going on a journey to become WTM Gen AI trainers as I train the trainers today. So let me just start my slideshow. Okay, 1 minute. Oh, that's a mistake. So I intended to do slideshow. Okay, so my slideshow, and this is my topic, WTM Gen AI, train the trainer. So what I'm doing right now is I'm training you to become a Gen AI trainer. At the end of this talk, we will together be Gen AI trainers. Are you seeing my slides? Are they okay? Should I proceed?
Yes, they're visible.
Great. So you've been hearing about AI, machine learning, interchangeably. You hear, oh, AI, this and that. But I've come to tell you that artificial intelligence and machine learning are not equal to the same thing. What do I mean by that? Machine learning and intelligence are in the same place, but they are not the same thing. AI, artificial intelligence, is a discipline, whereas machine learning is a subset. Now, if you look at this, you can see um, there are circles, concentric circles. I think you can actually equate them to, let's just say maybe a Venn diagram, but this is not Venn diagram, I'm just saying. You can see that they are inside one another. We see the AI, then we see the ML, then we see the deep learning. So artificial intelligence itself is the discipline, whereas AI is a subset of that. Then we have deep learning. In theory, I'm trying to navigate two things, two screens. AI is the theory and the development of computer systems able to perform tasks normally acquiring human intelligence. I mean, I would like this to be an interactive session. So at any time, you could just, if it's something you don't understand, we just, talk about it very quickly because I'm not lecturing you. So AI is the theory and the development of computer systems able to perform tasks normally, smart beings, you make computers smart, have the abilities of, a human being. They can function as though they are a human being. Am I going backwards? Okay, 1 minute. I think I've lost my. Okay, so there we are. So, as I said earlier on, artificial intelligence is a discipline. Well, machine learning is a subset of that discipline, and we should not mistake one for the other. ML gives computers, I said that AI makes computers smart, as though they're human beings. Whereas ML gives computers the ability to learn without explicit programming. That is, what ML does is that the computers have the ability to learn without you programming it to do so. So that's it. That's here we are. So now under ML, we have two types of learning or models. We have the unsupervised ML models and we have the supervised ML models. Just as the name suggests, unsupervised. Like, supervision means that you are actually guarding, taking care of something. You are like, your hands on deck on something. So when you now say unsupervised, it's exactly the opposite. So it's saying what it is. Unsupervised ML model. Then we have the supervised ML models. Supervised models learning implies that the data is already labeled. Just as that's, you know what that means again. You have labeled the data. You have given the data a nomenclature. In supervised learning, we are learning from past examples to predict future values. What I mean is that it's like historical, something has occurred in the past. So we're using that data to predict something that will happen in the future. Like in my graph, the graph I have here, I have a graph of an amount, the total tip amount, and the total ball amount. Then the blue circles about the pickups, and the this is orange. It's not orange really. It's in between yellow. It's about delivery. So in supervised learning, the data is labeled. This is a graph about restaurant tips by order type. Like when you have a restaurant, it's either people are coming to, pick it up. Is it pick up? Did they walk in by themselves, or did you have to deliver? That's what this is all about. So this is supervised learning. Then unsupervised learning implies that the data is not labeled. As you can see in this graph, it's income versus job tenure. Income versus job tenure. On the y-axis, we have income, and on the x-axis, we have the years of the company. And you can see it's all scattered. There's nothing that is labeled there. this is a good example of what you call clustering. It's a cluster, you know, just using the form, it's a cluster. So unsupervised learning implies that the data is not labeled. Unsupervised problems are all about looking at the raw data and seeing it naturally fall into groups. You're not running around trying to figure out. Okay, now this is a flow diagram showing supervised learning and unsupervised learning. As we can see in the supervised learning, we have our input data, it flows down to a model, then we have the predict output that we compare, what you predicted as against what is expected, the expected output. And in there is the training data set. Then in between these two, the variation between the predict output and the expected output is an error. And all together with the model, the predict, and the error is the model updates. So these are, they're all connected, they play into each other. That is for the supervised learning. Whereas in the unsupervised learning, we can see the input data, the model just straight out. There's no other input or output or any sort of thing. The input data straight to the model, then you have the output. You don't have an expected output, any predicted output. You don't have any model update. And sometimes perhaps you don't have any error. So you just see the output depends on the clustering, degenerate assignments to the groups, the demand reduction, generated transform futures. It's just straightforward as against the um, not that I mean not that supervised learning is not straightforward, but that's just the process flow. Then the deep learning is a subset of ML. You know, ML, AI. We had explained that AI is a discipline, ML is a subset. Now deep learning is a subset of ML. You can see from the circles. In case you're a bit confused, just look at the circles so that you understand the game. Then we have machine learning. We have under machine learning, we have supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforced learning. Then we have deep learning. Deep learning uses artificial neural networks. I mean, when I talk about neural networks, there's something that comes to our mind immediately. I don't know if there's anyone in the house that can just give us an idea. When you hear neural networks, there's something that over the years when you were in school that used to talk about a neural system, a neural network. Is there anyone that's going to help me here? When you hear neural network, what do you think about? When someone just mentions neural networks, what comes to your mind? Is there anyone that's going to help me out there with, oh, I'm not talking about AI now. I just dropped the word neural networks. What comes to your mind when you hear neural networks? Anybody going to help me here?
It's the brain and how it communicates with all the parts of your
Awesome.
body.
The brain. Because the brain connects to the other parts of your body with neurons and there's a network. So artificial intelligence, deep learning is actually uh, it's actually mimicking the operation of the brain and the neural networks that are in the brain. So deep learning uses artificial neural networks, allowing them to process more complex patterns than traditional machine learning. There's a traditional machine learning we talked about, which is a subset of something. We're going to get back to there. I want to see if you're following me. And you're now telling us that neural deep learning is the use of artificial neural networks, allowing them to process more complex patterns as against the traditional learning. I'm going to have a diagram that just shows that. Now look at this. Look at this beautiful illustration. And all the neural pathway, the neural pathways, the neural systems are labeled. So the artificial neural networks are inspired by the human brain, as my darling sister had said. So the knuckles or neurons that learn to perform tasks by processing data that is telling us what the neurons do in the system. I think I should just let me give me a minute. Let me just dim my that's why I didn't want to, I did what I did. I don't want people just, but that's okay. Just a bit of a blur because of your recording. So let me just go back to my, where am I here? Yeah, awesome. So that's that. So it's now saying how the neurons perform their duty. They learn by performing tasks, by processing data and making predictions. When they have the data input, they'll process it, then they'll make predictions about, exactly what the data is informing them about. So the deep learning ML model, briefly explained, as we earlier said, are artificial neural networks, otherwise ANN, ANN, a narrow network with a single hidden layer. Then the deep neural network, which is DNN, is a deep neural network with multiple hidden layers. So they are now explaining that in deep learning, you have two kinds of neural networks, the artificial neural network A, and then you have the deep neural network, which is DNN. It's important for us to understand that. And, when we see, we should be able to identify it. From the first illustration I showed you, you could see that there was an input layer, a hidden layer, and an output layer. Let me just go back again. Oh, okay. Um, Here it is. So let's go forward. Now, now we're now talking about the ANN, which is the artificial neural network. This is um, a use case of what it can do. You use that to predict sales based on the media channel budgets. So your input layer is the digital, the TV, the paper, the radio. Then you have a hidden layer that, of course, is working at the back. Then the output is the sales. Now, when you put inside it, it runs through, it processes the data, then it gives you out your outputs as in sales. Then the DNN, it predicts sales based on or media channel budget. You can now see that the diagrams or the illustrations are different. And that's because we talked about, one having a hidden layer, which is the DNN. You can see the hidden layers. This particular process, this particular model has four hidden layers. So when the digital, the TV, the paper, and the radio, you send your input into it. It goes into the input layer. Then the hidden layers are behind there, and it runs through the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and it gets to your output layer, and there goes your output. So this is the equation for you to do that. I'm not going to dive deep on that on the equation right now, but let's just have an idea, or let's look at it, and hopefully you'll be able to use it. Then generative AI. We've talked about AI, ML. We've talked about deep learning. Now we're going to the core of well, is it the core? But well, that's what I said I was going to talk about. So generative AI is a subset of deep learning. That's another subset you're looking at. And you can see in the circles, we have ML out there, we have deep learning, then we have generative AI in deep learning. Generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence, just as the name suggests, generates content for you. Now, if there's somebody out there can just give me what you think generative AI. What does generative AI mean to you when you hear generative AI? What comes to your mind? Just one person, and I'm not putting anybody on the spot. You don't have to give me a textbook definition. When you hear generative AI, what do you think about? What does your mind tell you? Oh, generative AI. Because that's sort of a buzzword now. Everybody is generative AI, generative AI. When you hear generative AI, What do you
What
think about?
comes to my mind when you talk about generative AI, the GPT or the ChatGPT, the Gemini, yeah, and
Awesome. So
all.
when you hear generative AI, oh, were you still speaking? Please go ahead. Or you're done.
He said he was done. Yeah.
Pardon?
No, he was done.
It's done. Okay. So you even have, when you think about generative AI, you think about the large language models that they actually perform this. Awesome. So you already have a good picture. We think about ChatGPT. You think about other ones. I think about Gemini. You think about other folks. Who else has something to say? Generative AI. When you hear the word generative AI, what flashes in your mind? Because our mind does not work with we work with letters, it works with pictures. When you hear generative AI, what flashes in your mind? What thoughts are created in your mind when you hear generative AI?
Remember what is it?
Pardon?
Thoughts? No,
I
I
have a
just want to.
comment.
Pardon?
Um,
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
okay, I'll go. I was saying I have a comment. For me, generative AI is both fascinating and scary because having used ChatGPT and seeing what it can do, it makes me wonder what other ones like on LinkedIn and other social media platforms, that there are others that can generate slides and all kinds of content. So it's quite scary, but it's very interesting having seen what it can do.
Okay, great. I think there's someone else I wanted to say something.
Yes, this lady
Okay,
was
please
going
go
to say
ahead and we
something.
move ahead.
I think my thoughts are more or less the same with yourself. I, I'm filled with a lot of fear. What comes into my mind is job replacement. Yeah, job replacement from
Okay,
human to robot.
awesome. So you are the people that I'm actually looking for. She said that she thinks it's awesome and it's also scary. And you said that, oh my God, when you hear generative AI, you are afraid. You think about job replacement. But now that we're talking and you are going to be an AI trainer, you now realize that generative AI cannot generate anything except you put something for it to generate. You need to prompt it. So generative AI needs a human being to make it work. Anyway, it doesn't just generate on its own. I mean, that's when it becomes scary, when something just starts generating and nobody is prompting, nobody's inputting into it. Now we'll be scared about that. But no, the generative AI still needs the human being, which is you. So now that you're here, you're going to learn how to make that work. You learn this, the foundations, then you move on, so that you know that, oh my God, I control this thing, not the other way around. Okay, so we said that generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that generates content for you, brings out different contents. You put in something, it outputs content. It could be text, it could be videos, it could be, text, code, images. It keeps growing. Text, code, images, speech, text, code, images, speech, videos. So that's just it. Text, code, images, speech, video, 3D. It's artificial intelligence that generates content for you. Now, understand that you are the person is generating content for. And that's because you imputed something into it and it outputs this for you. Not that it just randomly just generates what it likes. Now, the large language models are also a subset of deep learning. Remember, we said that generative AI is a subset, and generative AI works with large language models. So we have the deep learning, we have the large language models. Those are the circles again. What is a large language model? ChatGPT, or Gemini is not generative AI, and you're going to understand why they are not. A large language model is a large general purpose language model that can be